Alright guys, in this video we're going to start to mix some things. I have that scratch track for the, that scratch lead for the drop in place, and I'm not going to really worry about that because I still have vocals to do and just general mixing. So the first thing I'll typically do is do what is called a static mix, and it'll take me a few hours to mix the whole track, so I obviously can't show you that from start to finish. But what I like to do is I like to mix with groups. So for instance, a static, and I'll do it with static mixing. And if you don't know what static mixing is, it's an idea that you don't use any plugins. You'd get a good rough mix with just the volume level and panning. So right now I'm going to do that. I'm going to run through the mix, let it play a couple times, and we are going to do a static mix.
They say that there's no such thing as fate, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from mouths that I can't see or touch. But you got this that I can feel, hands that hold and I so clear.
So I'm going to duplicate this track, this open hi-hat track, and we're going to put it left and right. We're going to vary with the width of it.
See or touch, but you got this that I can feel, hands that hold and I so clear. You can see me through the smoke now, got me feeling like I'm home now.
All right, so I'm going to leave everything fairly centered right there and slowly expand the width of the track as I go. That's a great way sometimes to just get the track to build. So when we hit this breakdown section, copy and paste this in. I was messing around with some vocal chains, but we're going to make this a little bit wider so we have a lot more instruments here. Let's listen to the breakdown. Let's pan that to the left. I like where the volume of that is. The acoustic guitar, they're already panned out nice and wide. So let's actually get these right here. So we'll do acoustic guitar left, and I'm going to start naming things because it's just a good practice to get into, just to name your tracks so you can see what's going on with your session. So acoustic guitar right. All right, let's listen to that. So I'm going to pan this pad out left and get that wobble out right. See how that feels. All right, so there's kind of the static mix of the first part of this track here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of EQ cuts on everything, make sure that we have the EQ how we want it. So here's our bass for this section. I'm going to get rid of this Nexus pad. I didn't like it. And this bass, we're going to recall the default. Just cut out some of the lows. I'm already doing that with this pad. That's just pan a little left. I'm already doing that with the other synths as well. And the acoustics are recorded. There's not much there. They're mainly a percussive element in that part of the track. All right, so there is kind of a static mix on these sections.
They say that there's no such thing is fate, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from.
Let's actually turn the sustain up of this pad in Dune.
say that there's no such thing as fate, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from mouths that I can't see or touch. But you got this that I can feel, hands that hold and eyes so clear.
All right, I'm gonna take out a little bit of the lows on this. Oh, did not want to do that. Ooh, that awkward moment when you when you accidentally save your weird random shape as the default. So let's try this real quick. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's just cut a little bit of the lows out of this, just so they hit a little bit harder in the the breakdown, and even the chorus.
You got this that I can feel, hands that hold and eyes so clear. You can see me through the smoke now, got me feeling like I'm home now. Lay it all, lay it all, lay it all down. Say it all, say it all, say it all now. Lay it all, lay it all, lay it all down. Say it all, say it all, say it all. I would ride for you.
All right, so now we need to look at mixing and doing some general mixing things to this hook section. It's gonna be a little bit harder because there are a lot more instruments, and this will take me a good chunk of time. But the general things that I'll be doing is just trying to get certain elements of the mix to sit better. Now, I haven't done any processing on my kick yet, and I typically won't do a lot of compression, but let's just make sure that the EQ, if I'm gonna have a sub right here, I don't really want remember we added that sub bass right here? I don't want the sub and the kick to share too many sub frequencies. All right, so these synths, we gotta pan them out because there's just too much in the center, right? We have this Spire synth, this synth master synth, and even though we have LFO tool on it, and I've done some equalizer, just cutting out the lows mainly on these so they don't conflict with the bass, we need to get those out left and right. So let's just pan one left, one right, and see what happens. All right, I'm gonna bounce this in place. This is that Serum synth. I'm gonna turn it way up so then we have gain room to turn down. All right, so there is that. So now now I'm gonna do is go into Serum, and I'm going to hit copy. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change out two of the waveforms here. All right, now I'm gonna bounce that in place, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. All right, so now I have two instances of this. One's gonna sound a little bit different. Okay, now I'm gonna pan one left and pan one right, and we are going to, let's paste the original back in there, and we are going to mute the original. Let's take these back to about -36 and +36 respectively. So there is some stuff in the center field. All right, so I'll probably fuss with that a good chunk more, but I like having those panned out left and right. Let's see if we can get these in as well. Pan those out hard left and hard right. Maybe. All right, I'm going to control click on these, and I'm going to do a track stack. We're going to do a, let's do a summing stack. So that will allow me to control this, and I'll call this drop chords. And now I can control the whole thing via one slide. The plus to having the actual track stack is now it's kind of like I create a bus or a group, and I can apply EQ to all of the synths collectively, which is nice. All right, guys, welcome back. So the session looks really different. I have been mixing it probably for, I would say, around 3.5 hours on, probably close to 4 actually. And I have condensed everything into track stacks in Logic. So I hate when my session is just a giant scrawl of, let me open all the stacks real quick. And that's what I was doing right before we broke. I was making some track stacks. But this is literally the whole session, and it's really long. And so if I'm zoomed in on any level, I can't see anything. So if your DAW gives you option or any options to organize your session, I suggest you do. Does a few things, I think. When it starts to look like this, I feel like I'm close to being done, and it gives me that extra push to really dig in and try to finish some things. But we have the drum stack up here. Now, as far as processing goes, I just went through and EQ'd some stuff. Nothing really earth-shattering here. I left all this pretty dry. Again, it comes from good sample choice using good pretty much production-ready samples. So there's not a whole lot on the individual drums here. Now what I'm going to do, that being said, I'm going to load up a compressor to add a little bit of bite to the whole drum group. So we're going to use a isotope compressor. We're going to use isotope ozone 7. And we're going to use the vintage compressor. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm really just trying to get a little bit of more tightness out of the drums, I guess. But let's solo some of these and check them.
Thing is fake, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from mouths that I can't see or touch. But you got this that I can feel. Hands that hold and are so clear. You can see me through the smoke now. Got me feeling like
All right, so it's a subtle change, but it is one that I think is pretty good. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is go through on my track stack here for the verse. These are all the verse instruments, and I added some. So let's go through that actually. Here is the pad that we've been hearing the whole time pretty much. I added a couple sounds. This one's coming from Native Instruments Massive. It's a pretty simple patch. There's 2 of them left and right. Okay. And those are tucked way far in the back of the mix. If you're wondering what I mean by back of the mix, reverb is a great way to add depth. So I'm doing that here with the large room reverb plugin. So that's layered, and then of course we have the bass.
you got this that I can feel. Hands that hold and are
All right, let me turn that off because that's gonna get really weird and wrong. Okay, so it's
They say that there's no such thing as fate, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from mouths that I can't see or touch, but you got this.
all right. So the bass seems a little bit heavy on here. So let's go to the channel EQ that we called up on this. Let's recall that, and actually let's use a FabFilter Pro Q2 on this, just because I want to do some mid-side equalization on this bass. All right, so here is the bass. Okay, I'm gonna make this, and we're gonna right-click on this. We can do stereo placement. We're gonna do left, and then we're gonna make another one. Make another little mark. We're gonna do stereo placement right. So we have right and left, right? I'm gonna take this out of the stereo field. So I'm taking out a lot of the lows, just out of the left and right channel, keeping them in the mid. Because this is a stereo bass coming from massive.
You got this that I can feel. Hands that hold and I so clear. You can see me through the smoke now. Got me feeling like I'm home now. Lay it on down.
All right, the breakdown has remained pretty much the same. It's intact from where we last saw it. We have synth chords that are, this is the kind of the brother or sister to that synth pluck right here in Dune. Right, I just extended the attack and made it more chill. We have the acoustic guitar, which I literally did in my apartment bedroom with one microphone. All right, so this bass, again, I want to take out just a little bit of the low. So when the sub hits in the chorus, everyone's like, damn. All right, the vocals. I tried actually to get some plugins from UAD on them, and I actually didn't like how they sounded, but there is one more that I do want to try, and that is a, where are we at? It is a Pultec. Why am I not seeing the Pultec here? Yeah, here it is. So I want to see if I can get like an EQ of some sort on this. So here, this is a Pultec equalizer made by Universal Audio. So we're gonna go see if we can find a preset here. It's a really awful way to have a preset. Oh, female vox, body and air. Let's try that. Let's see how this sounds.
They say that there's no such thing as fate, but I don't trust much of anything that comes from mouths that I can't see or touch, but you got this that I can feel.
All right, so I really like that, tweaking some things here, and I think that this UAD, if you guys don't have UAD, you don't know what they are, maybe you're a Waves user and you're wondering why do some people rave about this, it just adds some great depth to things. And for me personally, my strong suit, I would definitely say that I'm not a pure mix engineer. I'm more of like a hybrid producer who can do some level of mixing, but they really help me. It's just a tool to help get me there. So this sounds pretty nice now.
They say that there's no such.
So my whole chain, we have the FabFilter Pro Q2. Cutting out the lows, boosting a little bit of the highs, notching out some nasty frequencies I didn't like. We have the de-esser. That remains the same from when we looked at that previously in the tutorial course. Isotope Nectar, just adding some effects, some distortion, saturation. CLA Vocals, great little plugin. We spent a good amount of time discussing that. Then the UAD Pultec Equalizer. Then RVox, which is still compressing it quite heavily. As you can see, it's at negative 15.5. Then we have a bus with Valhalla plate on it, giving us some reverb. We have another bus with Isotope Nectar. We did all that earlier in the tutorial course, so all that's remained the same. Let's listen to this.
They say that there's no such thing as fate, but I don't trust match of anything that comes from. Now that I can't see or touch, but you got lips that I can feel, hands that hold and eyes so clear. You can see me through the smoke now. Got me feeling like I'm home now. Lay it all, lay it all, lay it all down. Say it all, say it all, say it all now.
All right, so I'm going to reorder these real quick on this other channel because I've changed my vocal channel. So we want to go FabFilter Pro Q2 into the de-esser, into, it looks like here, Isotope Nectar, which isn't even on that preset. Oh, there it is. I don't know why. Logic is having a struggling issue right now. It's throwing a temper tantrum, it appears. All right, so then we want Isotope Nectar. So let's move the Pultec down, throw up Nectar, and then we want CLA Vocals. So it's important to keep this stuff consistent across all your channels because the order in which these happen in any DAW will affect and actually potentially compromise the overall sound. So here it is. Let's make sure it still sounds good in the breakdown.
Home now. Lay it all, lay it all, lay it all down. Say it all, say it all, say it all now. Lay it all, lay it all, lay it all down. Say it all, say it all, say it all. I would ride for you, I would die for you. Under it, but I would lie for you. I'm a mind for you, pay the price for you.
I'm still not super stoked with her vocals in the hook, and I haven't finished the drop yet, but the rest of it is pretty much mixed. I really like how those vocals sound. I did throw on some new reverb. So we have that reverb. We also have a delay. And let's solve that real quick. And adding that to those sections of the track actually make them pop a little bit more. So what I'm actually going to do right now, because I still may want to tweak the aux sends or the buses with the reverb, is I'm going to unpack this specific track stack just because you cannot hear in solo bus groups or buses, aux sends if you guys are Pro Tool users, on a track stack inside of Logic. So let's just take those out for now. So let's listen to this in the breakdown one more time. All right, so like I said, guys, most of the track is mixed. In the next video, we're going to be going through and doing some more arrangement-oriented things and discussing the second verse that I created, which is pretty simple. And then we're going to do a couple of things to the breakdown and maybe even mess around with the outro outside of the hook to get the kind of the transition in the verse a little bit better. So that was the basic mixing. Didn't do a whole lot to it because I'm using good sounds to start with, just simple things like EQ, compression, reverb, delay. I think there's only 2 instances of parallel compression in this whole track. So it really comes down to, in my opinion, if it sounds good, you're doing it right. If it sounds bad, you're doing it you're doing it wrong. So I will see you guys in the next video.
If you like this course, why not head over to sonicacademy.com, where we have hundreds of complete track builds in every genre imaginable, including all the project files and samples. You'll also find tutorials on plugins and synths, mixing and mastering, over 250 tech tips, artist interviews, along with our award-winning plugins, samples and preset packs.